In today's video, we're going to be reacting to what happened to Fortnite's best controller player. Now, this video is made by Timmy FMBR, who makes some amazing Fortnite documentaries. I will be leaving a link to his channel in my description below, and let's get into the video.
I got not one, but two, but three, but four, but five FNCS wins. Make it six now.
Dang, the legend Mero.
They continue moving towards the zone. He wants to pick up a siphon here, but he doesn't have time, and he gets it just as it ticks over.
How do you win 6 FNCSs? Like, actually, you know what I mean?
Nice. Nice, Meryl.
Those were just a few of the amazing moments from one of the best players in Fortnite history. But where did Mero come from, and how did he become the greatest controller player of all time?
That's
Matthew
crazy.
Mero Fatal started out where a lot of us gamers do, on console. The first ever tournament he competed in
Console's
was
the
actually
best.
the World Cup qualifiers, and he competed in these qualifiers while still playing on console. Because he was on console and still new to the game, he didn't really get too far in the World Cup, placing around 9,000th place. And he would continue to play in tournaments without much success. That was until November 13th of 2019, where Mero would get his first earnings ever in a solo cash cup on console. He placed 30th, but still managed to take home $350, which is a crazy amount of money for a console cash cup when you look at how the prize pools are spread out now. Nowadays, you can place first and barely take 200 bucks home. Man, this game has gone downhill. Anyways, following this big win, Mero transferred over from his console to his PC. A change that could take years to adjust to in competitive gaming if you were to go to mouse and keyboard. However, Mero decided that even though he was going to go to the PC for the upgrade in frames and overall game quality, he was going to stick to being a controller player.
Why
which
not?
obviously
Like,
is going
if you're
to
good
pay
on
off
controllers,
very
stick
well.
to
And
controller.
stick around
Just
to
get
the
a
end of this
PC.
video to find out just how much earnings Mero has made.
Oh,
With
God.
the PC switch, Mero seemed to just get better and better, because only a few months later, in April 5th of 2020, Mero placed for the first time on PC during a daily duos cup, and he didn't just earn, he actually got first place, which earned him $375 with his duo.
Insane.
And again, this was just a daily cash cup, so it wasn't the most competitive thing ever, but just wait until you see some of the massive tournaments that Mero wins. And just 4 days later, on April 9th of that same year, Mero would place first in a solo cash cup, his biggest win yet, and he took home a whopping $2,600.
Look at this end circle too.
Massive, considering just a few days before this, Mero was a nobody in the Fortnite community. You see, a lot of the big names we've talked about on this channel, like Clicks, get their start in the Fortnite World Cup, but Mero was a little bit behind. And even though he missed out on the World Cup, there was a new tournament that Epic Games had coming up for Fortnite Chapter 2 called the FNCS Invitational. This tournament worked a little bit different than the World Cup did. High-performing players from the previous Fortnite season were handpicked for spots in the tournament. But don't worry, Epic Games still did have an open qualifier for those that were newer to the game, like Mero, for example. And luckily for him, he placed 37th in the NA East qualifiers, which earned him a spot to compete in Week 1 of the FNCS Invitational. Many fans expected little from the open qualifier rounds. I mean, hundreds of top players were pre-selected for this tournament. However, against all odds, Mero placed 11th in the first week of Invitationals, and then 6th in Week 2, which earned him a spot in the Grand Finals for his first time ever. It was almost unheard of at this time for players to come out of nowhere and make a name for themselves, especially a player that had come after the World Cup, not to mention a controller player, especially in solos. A lot of controller players are known for being great duos because they can just frag out while their mouse and keyboard player can TARP or IGL. However, Mero was popping off in every single game mode. The Grand Finals took place on May 23rd and 24th, and some of the biggest names ever in Fortnite competed in this tournament, like Clicks, Booga, Unknown Army, and heck, they even invited the GOAT Aussie Antics to commentate. It was an epic event. And even though the tournament was held entirely online because of the global pandemic, Epic Games still managed to capture some of the magic of LAN events during the open qualifiers and the Grand Finals.
However,
there wasn't any magic to be found found for Miro, because despite his really high placements in the open qualifiers the previous 2 weeks, he only managed to get 49th in the NA East Grand Finals, earning him just $500.
Nice.
Although this tournament wasn't nearly as big as the Fortnite World Cup, it certainly put Miro onto the Fortnite map. And it was around this time that he was even invited to join Outcast region, which was the first gaming org Miro would ever be on. With his newfound success, Miro decided to start uploading videos on YouTube as well, and capitalize on his good gameplay by making good content. His first ever video was uploaded on May 12th, 2020, called Paradise. Unfortunately, this video is a montage, and I can't show you the original music because of copyright, so we're just gonna sub in some non-copyright music, and enjoy.
Montages, am I right?
From there, he continued to post new content on his channel, which highlighted his performance in tournaments. In early 2020, Fortnite started to switch from the duos meta over to trios, meaning that everybody needed to find a new team to play with. This was the perfect opportunity for a newer player like Miro to jump right into the competitive scene. He ended up playing with a few popular players like Posick, Hunt, Playify, and PD Plague. But he never really found the right trio fit. That was until he met Day and Reverse 2K. Little did this trio know they would become one of the most decorated teams in Fortnite history. They competed in their first ever Cash Cup together on August 12th of 2020. And of course, when you go into one of these Cash Cups with all new squad mates, you don't expect to do very well. It's a trial run, right? Well, apparently these three didn't think that way because they got second place on their very first time.
They just went insane.
And then a day later in Ninja Battles Week 3, they placed third. Just because Miro wasn't destroying the trios game doesn't mean that he wasn't also keeping up in solos. In fact, he placed 6th in the September 2020 DreamHack Open, which earned him $3,400. But let's get back to the main storyline and talk about trios. Despite doing so well in Cash Cups, it wasn't a certainty that Miro, Day, and Reverse would be able to keep up this play in FNCS, especially because nobody really knew who Day and Miro were at this time. Reverse 2K was obviously a very popular player back then, but he had picked up two young goats that he thought were going to be able to be the next big players, and it turns out Reverse might have been right. So, because FNCS Chapter 2, Season 4, Week 1 started on October 11th of 2020, and this underdog team managed to place 5th on NA East, then getting a 6th place finish during Week 2, and to top all of that off, on Week 3 they placed third. These placements were insane, especially for two young players like Day and Miro competing in what was their first FNCS trio tournament. But the journey would not end there. They still had to win the FNCS Grand Finals, and they came for first place and nothing else. On November 1st, 2020, this team placed first in the North America East region. You heard me right, first place. The players each earned $22,000, and more importantly than anything, bragging rights. Because following this huge win, nobody would ever underestimate Miro again, and from that point on, he would only go on to get better and better. One FNCS win, however, wasn't good enough for these boys. They wanted to continue to dominate. So obviously after winning, they stayed together for FNCS Chapter 2 Season 5, and they managed to score a 4th place in the Grand Finals, earning themselves $20,000. And to place this high 2 FNCSs in a row was insane. But again, this wasn't enough for the team, as they locked in one more time and started training for the next FNCS. And they once again blew competition out of the water, placing first in the second round of qualifiers and earning themselves a spot in Grand Finals once again.
Miro's going up. Miro's going for high grip, but Miro has one.
Miro's correct.
He's gonna walk in through the side.
Did you guys know Miro's on controller?
And that's the second. And all of a sudden, Miro is proving why he is this good, and he wants another championship.
And against all the prediction lists and all the odds, the unstoppable trio of Miro, Day, and Reverse won yet again one more FNCS.
I fucking solo clutched the win, bro. I knew I, bro. Oh my. I'm about to cry, bro. Oh my god, bro. This solo clutch did it, bro.
This win had the team take home $150,000, which for a couple of young kids and old man Reverse was not that bad. But unfortunately, this dream team just couldn't last forever. Following this win, Reverse 2K started talking on his stream about wanting to quit Fortnite forever.
I ask if I care if I lose any of this. Ask. I don't care if I lose my career. I'm already depressed. This game sucks. My career sucks. I get dropped every other single freaking day by my teammates.
And then on
Dang.
August 11th of
Probably
2021,
got dropped.
Reverse 2K tweeted this: "I am definitely quitting after this season." Reverse, however, did not quit after that season, considering that he had played so well with his trio.
Why not?
It was kind of up in the air why he was ranting so much about the game, but there were a couple of other reasons he didn't enjoy it. That being said, Reverse did decide to run back one last trio FNCS with Day and Miro, and they didn't quite do as well as they wanted to, placing a
They didn't do it
15th in
bad?
Grand Finals. And that was the end of the historic trio, and they would never play together again. Following this disappointing FNCS, Miro took no time getting into another trio. He quickly teamed up with Muzz and solo
That's a
World Cup
crazy
winner
Muzz
Bugha,
picture.
and they got right to work. The team immediately qualified for the next FNCS,
Was that a
Chapter
real
2,
Muzz
Season
picture?
8, and once again, Miro was heading into an FNCS with a completely new team. But things were a little bit different this time because expectations were very high. You had the multiple-time FNCS winner Miro, the
Facts.
multiple-time FNCS winner Muzz,
Facts.
and the World Cup winner Bugha all on
Facts.
one team. So they could not settle for
Bugha.
anything less than first. And that's
Oh my god, we won! Let's go!
I've seen this clip
I
so
swear to
many
God,
times.
hold on, hold on.
I
hold on.
swear to
Refresh-
God we
refresh
won.
it.
No, I swear to God, I swear to God. Let's fucking go, boys!
You heard them right. This team of Fortnite All-Stars got first place in FNCS Grand Finals. But despite their incredible performance, this team wouldn't stick as well as you might have thought it
Nobody
would.
knows
Because just
why.
a few days later, Muzz was seemingly dropped from the trio. The day
'Cause he's wearing the
before
PSG
FNCS
jersey.
Grand Royale.
Bugha, Muzz, and Miro splitting up is real. The team that just won the last NA East FNCS a few weeks ago has now already split up the day before Grand Royale. So let's get to the bottom of exactly what happened. Now, it's really confusing, and unfortunately, we don't have too much information because the original tweets that Miro made about dropping Muzz and staying with Bugha and finding out they're playing with Dukes have now been deleted. So that is the new team. We now have Bugha, Miro, and Dukes. Dukes obviously winning the last FNCS before we saw Muzz, Bugha, Miro win it. So they did drop Muzz for an FNCS win of the season before, but a lot of people still really confused. Now, I don't have the tweets on hand.
Why,
I believe
though?
Miro
Just
said
tell
something
me
along the lines of
why.
Muzz is an incredible player. It is due to personal issues outside of them as a team.
That doesn't make
This
sense.
news was pretty shocking to most people, especially
Fortnite
because
drama.
it didn't leave Muzz with a lot of time to find another teammate. After winning FNCS, it's very rare that you drop a trio member, but Dukes was a one-of-a-kind, up-and-coming talent that Bugha and Miro just really wanted to play with. So in the first ever
think Dukes is
FNCS
Dookie.
Grand Royale, the three of them teamed up, and here's what happened.
Jamper ended 472. Acorn ended. Wait.
Wait.
We did, bro.
Let's go, baby.
Dang, by a
Let's
landslide.
go,
Look at all those
baby.
points.
Yep, they won again. Miro would be going into 2022 as a 4-time FNCS winner.
Crazy.
But Epic Games was about to throw a massive wrench in the competition that would once again cause Miro to rethink his teams. And that was switching back to duos for the next FNCS.
Ooh.
Speaking of duos, I'm really bad at Fortnite and I always need good duos to carry me. So if you guys subscribe to my channel and comment your epic name down below, I'll be picking one of my subscribers to run up some duos with. So
Oh,
make
what?
sure to comment and subscribe, and let's get back to the video. For these
Oh my
competitive
gosh.
guys, switching from trios to duos completely changes the meta, and if players can't catch up fast enough, they're left in the dust. However, Miro had proven to the Fortnite community time and time again that something as little as needing to find a new team would not faze him. Miro plays Fortnite to win, and he
Right.
does not let anything stop him from getting first place. So Miro and his former trio Bugha decided that they would stick together and drop Dukes so that they could take on this new duos meta together. And yeah, you guessed it. The team placed first in their FNCS debut. Honestly, this is getting kind of
Nice.
old. And for those of you counting, that is
They're
Miro's
just broken.
5th first place
Broken.
FNCS win before he even turned 18 years old. Unfortunately,
Okay.
however, this would be Miro's last first place in FNCS for quite a while. He and Bugha continued to compete together for the rest of Chapter 3, placing a very respectable 3rd and then 2nd in the Chapter 3 Season 3. But for Miro, this wasn't good enough.
This is not
Placing
bad, though.
3rd and then 2nd second was an incredible run for anybody. Only Miro and Bugha can be disappointed by not coming literally in first place every tournament. Unfortunately, however, their placement would go even further downhill when they two competed in the 2022 FNCS Invitational, where the team placed 36th out of 50, which was a huge letdown for some of the most decorated players in Fortnite history. And because of this, the team split, and Miro was once again, for the 100th time in his career, left to find a new team. And it did take quite a few months for Miro to find the right duo. He ended up playing with Edgy, another popular Fortnite player, for the FNCS Majors 1, placing 22nd in Grand Finals. For many people, a 22nd would be okay, but for Miro, this was unacceptable, and the duo decided to part ways. So once again, Miro was left to look for another teammate, right? Wrong, because this is where Miro's story takes a weird and unfortunate turn. Instead of deciding to get back on the battle bus with a new teammate, Miro announced that he would be completely leaving the competitive Fortnite
he can just retire.
A lot of people thought Miro was trolling. I mean, how could one of the best Fortnite players of all time, who's still only 18 or 19 years old, decide to leave this amazing career? But Miro defended his departure in the replies, stating that he needed to get his mental health back together before he was able to return to grinding. He even left his long-term org at this time, Dignitas.
I did it. Oh my god, bro. It's so close. I'm leaving. I'm about to cry, bro. I'm about to cry grown-ass man tears. I fucking did it, bro. I told him, like game 9, bro. I told him, bro, I was like, bro, we're about to make the comeback of a fucking century, bro. We fucking did it, bro. Oh my god, bro, this solo clutch did it, bro.
Although he quit, Miro did play a couple smaller tournaments with players like Crisp and Rise. But on April 16th of 2023, the first day of Major 2 qualifiers, Miro decided that he was going to make a comeback, and there's a very interesting story behind this that some of you may not know about. Miro decided to play with a very unknown and all-new duo, Cooper, and it was all because of a coin flip.
Let's first shine a light. The coin toss. Talk to me about this coin toss. How did this all go? Is this real? Is this made up?
Yeah. I didn't really want to play the game too much no more. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing nothing better. I'm getting a teammate, and I'm coming back. I don't care. Like, I flipped the coin, and I was like, all right, we'll play on Cooper.
Yep, that's right.
That's
on April
crazy,
10th
though.
of 2023,
That's actually crazy.
Cooper received a message out of the blue from Miro asking him to pick a side of the coin. Cooper ended up picking tails, and then as fate had it, the coin landed on tails. It's insane that if Cooper had picked heads, this duo would have never played together, and it would have changed Fortnite
Where are we landing? Are these actual DMs?
Before Miro decided to play with Cooper over this coin flip, the young prodigy only had $7,000 in earnings. So when people say he was an underrated player, he was very underrated. Honestly, I doubt that he was on any big Fortnite pros radar other than Miro's, apparently. So the unlikely duo got into FNCS Major 2s with relatively low expectations. Miro had already said he was just playing for fun, and Cooper was literally unknown to most people. But on May 14th of 2023, the duo did the unthinkable. On their first big FNCS tournament ever, they not only qualified for Grand Finals, but placed second in all of North America, which immediately qualified them for the 2023 FNCS Global Championship. This was crazy considering just a few months ago, Miro was ready to give up on the game completely, and Cooper hadn't even made $10,000 yet.
That's crazy.
The next major, Major 3, they placed 9th, which wasn't as good as the second place, but certainly not too bad at all, with one of the best lobbies in NA history being assembled. Despite having the 5-time FNCS winner on his team, nobody expected Cooper to do this well, and I don't think any prediction video would have had Miro and Cooper on top of it. So in October of 2023, the two of them hopped on a plane and flew over to Copenhagen to compete live in person at the FNCS Global Championship LAN event. And little did they know, the two of them would have their lives changed forever. So the two of them step on the stage for their first day, and they didn't do very well. Unfortunately, only the top 25 players would be able to move on directly to the Grand Finals. Unfortunately, they just missed it and placed 28th out of 50. This meant they were bumped down to the lower bracket and had to compete again on day 2 to earn a spot in the final day of Grand Finals. But luckily, being in lower brackets doesn't mean that you're completely eliminated. In fact, it really was a second chance for Miro and Cooper to prove that they deserve to be here just as much as anybody else. And luckily, the team team placed 17th, which earned them a spot on the Sunday Grand Finals.
That's crazy,
And I'm
man.
sure a lot of you guys know what's coming next, but Miro and Cooper not only did well on day 3, they absolutely demolished the competition.
Destroyed
And they
everybody.
came in first place
That's
again, while
crazy.
scoring 60 more points than the second place team.
Miro and Cooper from
Did Camion said he went after that? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Camion said he won the one before, I think.
Lift that trophy! Congratulations, Miro!
That's
Congratulations,
crazy.
Cooper! How amazing it must feel to be the global champions!
It's crazy to think that just a couple months before this win, Miro was convinced that he was done with the Fortnite world.
Well, he was.
But
I don't think he's
one
playing
crazy
anymore
coin
now.
Flip and a couple insane tournaments later, Miro finally had reached the top again. And in his own words, he has not only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 6 FNCS wins now. And I'm sure that we're gonna see another one in the near future. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do hit the
done.
subscribe button. Make sure you like and comment who you want to see in my next video.
W
And
video,
thank you guys
Timmy.
so much for watching. I love you all. Click right here to watch
Oh.
another video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!
Thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. And if there's a video you want to see, let me know down in the comments below. Peace.